From Lake Mississippi to Big Green and everything in between, we're talking about what's happening in your hometown. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And good morning. Welcome to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Kale Zomer here in the Daily Dodge TV studios. Charlie Dern up in the Slumberland studios. Ninja behind the camera today. Thanks for being along here on a Tuesday morning. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor, and so much more. Make sure you visit them at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. You can also go online, proflr.com. Stop in, check out the Stanton carpet line. It's great for custom area rugs, runners, good for stairs. It's very long-lasting quality, so that's helpful. They've also got a great selection of countertop options, including quartz, granite, laminate, solid surface. If you're looking at upgrading the bathroom, it's a great place to go. They can help you out with the new walk-in shower, vanity, and countertop. And, of course, they've got the latest in waterproof flooring as well. They do free in-home measures and quotes, and you can get a free in-store consultation as well. And you stop in there, and the staff there, super knowledgeable, super friendly, and they can help you out, maybe help you inspire. If you've got a room, I always suggest for things like that, take a picture of the room you're thinking about doing and bring it in with you, because that'll help them as well. And you can also take a virtual tour online at proflr.com. Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor, and so much more. I want to mention, got a note yesterday about a chili and soup supper being hosted by Faith Lutheran Church in Columbus coming up October 26th. That's going to run from 4:30 until 7 o'clock. It is $10 for adults, $5 for ages 4 through 9, and kiddos 3 and under are going to be free, and that's over at 120 Faith Drive in Columbus on October 26th. There's also going to be a bake sale and pumpkin patch. That'll be fun, and they'll be doing some raffles as well. So make sure you head over there, put that one on your calendar, October 26th at Faith Lutheran Church in Columbus. Got a packed schedule for you today here on 95.3 WBEV. Coming up at 11:10 on Taking Care of Business, we'll be joined from the crew from Kladowski Real Estate. Always a great time sitting down with those folks, talking about what's happening in the Dodge County real estate market and everything you need to know if you're thinking about buying or selling or upgrading or downgrading, whatever may be in your future. And then community comment, of course, it is election season, so lots of election-related community comments. Coming up this afternoon on the first segment of Community Comment, we'll have Maureen McCarville, candidate for Wisconsin State Assembly District 42. And then later on in Community Comment today, this Friday, there is going to be a debate. The Wisconsin Broadcasters Association will be hosting this debate between the two candidates for Senate from Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde. You'll be able to listen to that debate right here on 95.3 WBEV beginning at 7 p.m. this Friday night. But you get a little sneak peek this afternoon on Community Comment as moderator Jill Geisler will join us on Community Comment this afternoon. And coming up later tonight over on our sister station, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, some great more postseason baseball action. Again, I know we wish our Brewers were in there, but it is what it is. But if you're watching postseason baseball, we've got the Cleveland at New York Yankees. That's going to be at 6 p.m. over on 1430 ESPN. And then after the game at about 11:05 tonight, the Badger Hockey Hour. So if you're a Badger hockey fan, you'll want to follow along with that. Do also want to mention we're in the last final days. Noel's Angel Walk, part of the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon, is hosting a Pizza Ranch pizza fundraiser to benefit the Radiothon. And there's just a few days left to order your frozen pizzas. Pizza Ranch pizzas, they've got a couple of great selections. The Bronco Pizza, which is my absolute favorite there. If you're interested, you can stop in here at the radio station during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and you can place those orders. Those are due this Friday, so 8:30 to 4:30 today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. you can stop in here at the radio station and order those frozen pizzas. All the proceeds will benefit the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon. Coming up next hour here on Hometown Today, we're going to be joined by Kathy Barnett, who is going to be speaking with us about a really, really fun upcoming event this Saturday. If you're into Beaver Dam history, or if you're into Halloween, you're going to definitely want to tune in for that one. A really neat event. And coming up in just a few minutes, we'll visit with a couple of the folks from the Aging and Disability Resource Center here in Dodge County. That's coming up on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
This is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, and you're listening to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor and so much more. Also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Excited to have our monthly visit with the folks from the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County here today on Hometown Today. We have with us Amanda Higgins, the Elder Benefits Specialist from ADRC. We also have Jenny Farmer, the Disability and Elder Benefits Specialist. Welcome, ladies. Always nice to see you.
Yeah, same. You too.
Thanks for having us.
Well, always nice to visit with the folks from the ADRC, because there's always so much to talk about and inform everybody, because it is such a great resource here in the county that so many folks can take advantage of. And it's a Tuesday, you know. It's kind of gotten cold out the last couple of days. It's reminding us that, yes, winter is near, and it's kind of been a little dreary and groggy out. And I'm thinking we need a little lightening up to start the show, and I'm thinking that means we need Jenny's Joke of the Month to kick things off today.
It's a good one today. Okay,
I love it.
Why can't you trust the king of the jungle?
Why can't you trust the king of the jungle? Ooh, I'm not sure on that one.
Because he's always lying.
Oh, yeah, he said, but
Yeah.
See, I see what you did there.
Such a good one.
Very good. Thank you, Jenny. That is Jenny Farmer. She's the Disability and Elder Benefit Specialist from the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. Well, let's talk a little bit. I know so many folks, obviously, around here affected by what goes on with Social Security. And this time of year, too, it's especially a big topic. And they just had some updates, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was late last week. Wednesday, Thursday, something like that.
Thursday.
There was an announcement that there is going to be a 2.5 cost of living increase for 2025. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. In the Social Security article that I read, they predict that with the 2.5 cost of living, the average payment will increase about $50.
Okay.
Just to kind of give in perspective what that 2.5 looks like.
Sure.
Also, they explain that in the last decade, with the cost of living increased, it has now averaged out to be about 2.6%.
So the 2.5% increase for this time around sounds like it's a fairly average increase.
Yes. Yeah. And I was kind of going back just to even 2023 and then last year. So in 2023, there was a huge jump of 8.7. And then last year, it was 3.2. Okay. So I think if you look historically out of that last decade, you're going to see this kind of roller coaster going up and down. But once you figure out what that looks like average, 2.6% is about that average.
Okay, very good to know. So is that adjustment made once a year? Is it kind of this time of year, every year, that they look at that and decide what the adjustment's going to be then?
Yeah, so I'm definitely not an expert or claim to be an expert with cost of living, but what is judged by the cost of living is the third quarter consumer price index what's going to determine if there is or if there's not and how much that's going to look like.
Okay.
So I think that's, a little bit perspective to kind of play into what's determined if there's a cost of living. Also, I think, just to note that the cost of living does not determine if there is going to be any financial changes in original Medicare premiums and deductibles, but also the federal poverty levels. So federal poverty levels are used to determine eligibility for other public benefits like Medicaid, for example.
Okay.
Badger Care is one of those Medicaid examples. So the cost of living does not have any impact on those other figures. So there's a lot of times that people I talk to think that just because we're going to have a cost of living increase means that the Part B premium is automatically going to increase. And that's not necessarily true. However, I think our coworker, she Googled to see if there was going to be a premium increase, and it looks like there may be a little bit one, but again, it has no connection with the cost of living.
Gotcha. Now, obviously, you said, on average, those payments are going to increase about $50, but it'll be specific to person.
Yeah.
How do folks find out if they want to get kind of down to the exact dollar, what that increase is going to be for them?
That's a very good question. So if you are a person that just receives your notifications from Social Security by mail, they will start sending out paper notices early December.
Okay.
And that's really going to be that summary notice. It's kind of a skinny document, and it's rolled up on each other, so it's not a formal letter that you get. It doesn't even come in its own envelope. You kind of have to rip it off, and it rolls on itself.
Perforated edges that you have to pull off on the sides, and
yeah,
it's kind of an awkward piece of mail.
And
you
I heard
can't miss it.
No,
Right.
you really shouldn't
miss
miss it. And I haven't seen what it's going to look like, but I heard it's been redesigned a little bit, so it's easier for people to read the information on there.
Good.
Okay.
However, if you want to know what your new payment is for 2025 earlier than receiving it in the mail, starting November 20th, if you have a Social Security account, so myssa.gov, you can get that information through logging into your account.
Okay. And then Do those new updated payments, does that start then right away in January at the beginning of the year? Is that how that works?
Yep.
Okay, very
Yep.
good.
So usually that information comes out beforehand before you
Sure.
can actually expect it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Very
Yeah.
good. Anything else we should note or mention about the cost of living adjustment that's coming up?
No, I think it's just to be aware of it. I know that there's probably a lot of news circulating around it already, but for those that didn't catch that memo, just wanted to share it with all the listeners this morning.
Very, very good. Again, we're with a couple of folks from the Aging and Disability Resource Center. We have Amanda Higgins. She is the Elder Benefits Specialist. We've also got Jenny Farmer. She's the Disability and Elder Benefits Specialist at the ADRC. And we'll give this out a few times throughout the program, but before we get too far in, can you just throw out the phone number to reach your office if folks have questions? Maybe they're hearing they want to reach out to you later today with some additional questions. What's that phone number?
Sure. That number is 920-386-3580. That's our main number. You'll reach the ladies at the front desk, and they'll be able to help you get a hold of one of us or one of our resource specialists.
All right, very good. Speaking of increases, let's talk about food share increases because that is something that's happening as well.
Yes. So there was recently in October, there was a food share increase where the income limits had changed based on with cost of living increases. Now the head of household, the minimum amount is if you have a household of with 1 to 2 people, the minimum amount is $23 that you could possibly get. I believe before it was $16.
Yeah, I don't recall what it was
I can't remember
before.
what it was, but
And
it
that's
went
the
up a
minimum
little.
benefit you can receive.
The minimum benefit you can receive.
Okay.
The maximum benefit you could receive for a household of 1 is now $292. A household of 2 is $536. So the main thing we want you to realize is that those numbers have changed. So if before you were someone who didn't apply for food share because you didn't think it was worth the time to apply, now's the time that maybe you should reconsider that. You're not taking away benefits from somebody else. Those benefits really do add up after a while. And if you didn't qualify before, maybe now you do qualify.
That's you bring up a really good point that I think probably happens a lot, which is people may be feeling like, well, I might be taking that away from somebody else, but that's really not how it works, is it? Those funds are there.
Right.
Not with food share. Food share is kind of a different animal
Yeah.
all on its own.
Right. So those benefits, you're not affecting anybody else. So those benefits, the benefits are what they are. So just because you qualify for those benefits, it doesn't affect somebody else. You're exactly right.
Okay, very good.
And there's another, I haven't seen it in a while, but for every like $5 of food share that's spent in the local communities, like $5 is given back.
Sure.
Or
yeah.
I'm sorry, $9 is given back. So
okay.
so it's really not only benefiting the person receiving food share, but it really benefits the local grocery store.
Sure. Yep.
So we really want people to be using these benefits, and it's kind of you either use it or we lose it as a state.
Yeah.
So just trying to encourage people. It's not welfare. It's not. It used to be called food stamps a long time ago, where people
Sure.
got out these little
Yep.
stamps and they had to like lick it or whatever to pay. It's very discreet. People get a little debit card, you swipe it, and it's a lot more confidential than it used to be a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember back when I was younger, worked in grocery. I remember the old school, stamps and ways. So it's nice that they've upgraded to the cards, and they're, nobody
Right.
knows the difference, anything like that. And it's it's a pretty handy program.
I've definitely simplified it so that way it's much more user friendly for folks.
Yeah, very good.
Eligibility on the other end is kind of complicated, which plays into the increase.
Okay.
So there's your income, but it's not so black and white, yes and no. There's factors of like a housing deduction. There's a standard deduction that the household gets. There's all these deductions depending on what your situation is, and it's put into this really crazy calculation formula. It really makes my brain hurt because there's like addition here and subtraction here, and then you bring it together. So I just try to let the computer do it for me. But medical expenses also over $35 will try to help increase your food share dollars.
Oh.
It doesn't happen dollar for dollar. So even if you have a low food share dollar now, with these new numbers that came out in October, you might be able to get a higher increase.
Oh,
So
okay.
contact the consortium.
Very, very good. And how do people, that's a good point, how do people go through the application process for food share?
They go through calling the Capital Consortium, and
Okay.
actually, I don't have that number down in front of me.
I'm a nerd. I know.
You know
You
that
have it
number.
memorized, don't you?
You have it memorized. That's very impressive, Amanda.
888-794-5556.
All right.
Don't ask me why I know that.
That's impressive. I'm impressed.
Very good. We are here with Amanda Higgins and Jenny Farmer from the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. We'll be back with lots more to chat with them about here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
It's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, bringing together friends and neighbors on Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge, presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor, and so much more. We've got Amanda Higgins, Elder Benefit Specialist, and Jenny Farmer, Disability and Elder Benefit Specialist from the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County with us in this first hour of Hometown Today. We were just chatting about some good news for folks that have some different resources. The Social Security Administration announcing that cost of living living adjustment for 2025. Also some increases to the food share program. But it's a big day for those on Medicare hopping on Medicare, because it is what?
Today is the start of the fall open enrollment period. So for the next 7 weeks, Jenny and I might be a little crazy. But yes, just wanted to share with everybody that today is open enrollment. So just to clarify out of the gate, that open enrollment is only for people who currently have a standalone Part D plan, which is for prescription drugs at the pharmacy, or an Advantage plan, which is also called Medicare Part C. And you can have it either just the health benefits, or you can have it bundled in with drug coverage. But those are the only two flavors of Medicare that are subjected to the open enrollment. I know a lot of people get confused with, Medicare supplements.
Sure.
Because Medicare is in the name of the plan, like AARP Medicare supplement or Humana supplement, but supplements are actually not overseen or maintained by Medicare. It's actually by the State Commissioner of Insurance. So that's where supplements are not subjected to the open enrollment. People can review their plan, but the deadline of December 7th, there's no impact on supplements. So if anybody out there listening this morning wants unbiased information on how to look at your plan and compare it to all of the other plans that are going to be available for 2025, we have what we've just called Medicare packets, where we just ask people to fill out information, even if they've given us to their information before. We ask people just to fill it out again. Name, address, phone number, your Medicare number, and then on the back of there, it's a list of all your medications and the pharmacy that you use. And so once we get that packet back, we will update your medication list on the Medicare Plan Finder. We will print off your current plan and the top 2 least expensive options, and then we can either mail it to you with instructions on how to read it, or we can at that point schedule an appointment and go through that individually with people. And then depending on what the person's comfort level is, we can help them enroll or switch their plan, or we can give them information on how to do it. So if you need one of those packets, just call our main office, 920-386-3580, and any one of the people that you talk to can mail out those packets. But Jenny and I, we just got through, what was it, like 7 or 9 hours of continuing education for
Lots of training.
all of the changes. So just wanted to share some really high level changes, just to really reiterate the importance of just looking. Not that you have to change, and honestly a lot of people don't change, but the ones that do can save a lot of money. So just talking about Part D, the prescription drug plans. So in 2024, this year, we have 22 plans. One of them were sanctioned by Medicare. So that was Clear Springs. You could still be in the plan, but the plan was not allowed to accept new people. So technically we had 21. Next year there's going to be 16 plans.
Okay.
So there's a handful of plans that are completely leaving the market, and that's, I think, the bigger concern, because if those people don't choose a plan, then they're going into the next year without
They're
coverage.
gonna lose their benefits.
And they will be paying 100% cost at the pharmacy.
So really, really, really important.
Really
At
important.
minimum, if you're on Medicare, that you're checking into that portion of
Just
it.
yes, but even looking if your plan isn't going away. So those 6 plans that are leaving the market, they should be getting a letter from the plan by the end of October. Honestly, I'm hoping that you got it already, but according to Medicare rules and so forth, they have until the end of October to send it out. 6 out of the 16 plans for next year are going to be considered low cost. So people who have Medicaid, or they have extra help through Social Security, which is a benefit program to reduce drug coverage. There's going to be, there were 7 of them this year. There's going to be 6 next year. So one of them are either going to be leaving the market or just not being considered a low-cost plan. So that's where looking at all of the mail that you get is so important. And even if you don't understand your mail, please reach out and ask for help, because we can help you understand all of that information. But there's actually 3 other big changes that are coming down the pike for Part D plans. So because of the Inflation Reduction Act that was signed into law a few years ago, there is now going to be a $2,000 cap on the out-of-pocket costs at the pharmacy counter. So this last year it was like $8,300 or something like that. Next year it's going to be $2,000.
Okay.
So this is a huge
That's
change.
a very
this is
big change.
Great.
Huge change. And there's also going to be, so before the Affordable Care Act came into play, there used to be called the donut hole for Part D, where once you reach a certain time of the year, there was just this fallout and there was no help from your plan to pay for medications. Because of the Inflation Reduction Act, there was some closure of that, but it's taken quite a long time to do so.
Okay.
And so now, at the end of this year, that gap will be 100% closed, which kind of impacted that $2,000 maximum out of pocket. The other big thing that we wanted to share with people, that there is this new plan. We kind of wish that it was called program and not a plan, because
Sure,
it
'cause
almost
it can
sounds
be
like you're
confusing.
enrolling into other coverage, but it's called the Medicare Prescription Payment Plan. So it's available on all plans, and the concept around this is if you have really high medication costs at the beginning of the year, January, February, March, you're able to elect this prescription payment plan. I feel like I have to be slow saying that. You can elect into that at the beginning of the year, and then there's going to be a calculation that divides those high costs at the beginning of the year and spreads them out over the rest of the year.
Okay.
So there isn't going to be any more or less out-of-pocket costs than you would be paying normally if you weren't enrolled into this plan, but it's allowing people to spread out those payments. So there is a fantastic tool on the Medicare website called the Plan Finder, and it will show you how that is going to be beneficial or not, because I don't think it's going to be beneficial for everybody, but we know that not so much anymore, but diabetic supplies, breathing medication, those are really expensive drugs right off the bat at the beginning of the year because of the deductible that a lot of plans have. So having this Medicare prescription payment plan will kind of allow people to get through those holidays, pay all those credit card bills, but not be so strapped and stressed with those high payments.
So, for example, let's say in January you have one medication that costs you $800 in January, even with your prescription plan. So you are going to pay $800 for that one medication in January when you went to the pharmacy. Instead of paying for that $800 to the pharmacist, you pay $0 to the pharmacist.
Okay.
But instead, you pay a payment plan to your prescription drug plan.
Gotcha.
For spread that $800 out over those 12 months to them instead.
Okay.
So it's almost like kind of like a credit card plan in a
I was
way.
going to say, I was actually almost going to compare it. I don't know if this is a great comparison, so please shut me down if it's not, but it almost kind of reminds me of like an escrow on your mortgage,
Yeah.
sort of.
Right. So that it's something you can choose for. It's
Sure.
not going to be great for everyone, but it's going to be really good for those people who have those high cost prescriptions that they really have to pay
Sure.
a high amount for at the beginning of the year.
Sure.
So it's not for everybody, but it is going to be great for some people.
Yeah.
But that will give us some additional talking points when we're talking to people about if they stay with their
Yep.
plan, if they switch their plan. And we were told that you don't have to decide at the beginning of the year. So if you end up having this new medication that starts in April, you can sign up and be a part of this payment plan in April. Those payments aren't just they're not going to be as reduced as they were if you would have started it at the beginning of the year, but it's still really helpful.
Obviously, so a number of changes coming for 2025, and again, as you mentioned, for unbiased assistance, you're not selling any products or anything like that. It's just, hey, here's what your options are. Here's what you need to know. Folks can chat with you, and again, if you want to throw that phone number out there, if they want to get
Sure,
hold of you.
920-386-3580. The other thing I wanted to point out about open enrollment starting, and I've learned this the hard way. This is going to be my 13th open enrollment period, so I feel really old saying that. But we never do any plan counseling the first week of open enrollment. And the reason being is the Medicare website that has this plan finder tool, there's growing pains, there's bugs that get worked out. And there was one year that I was just really wanting to be ahead of the game, did all this, and then there was an error. And I had to redo a bunch of stuff that I already did. So learned the hard way. I always let the bugs get worked out the first week. So we will start doing those plan finder searches and starting to call people next week for appointments. So we have your paperwork. If you have sent it in already, we will get you on the list. Just be patient with us.
And it sounds like a broken record, but this just really is important to look at your plan. Your plan for 2024 may have been great, and it may be great for 2025, but it's really important to take a look at what it's going to look like for 2025, because the formularies change. What they're going to cover for 2025 is going to change. Whether or not they work with the same pharmacies is going to change. We've seen people have a savings of hundreds of thousands of dollars just by changing their pharmacy, because they might not contract with the same pharmacy for the next year.
Sure.
So if you really like a certain pharmacy, you might have to change your plan because the contract changes. Or they may no longer cover a certain medication that you really need to have. So you might need to change your plan. So it's just a matter of, it's really important to just take a look, and we're here to help you just take a look.
Very good. We've got Amanda Higgins and Jenny Farmer with the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. We've got to step aside for a break. We'll be back with plenty more with them here in just a few minutes on Hometown Today from 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Hi, it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, bringing you Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. And one guy that's always there for us is Dr. Verlo, who is joining us this morning by phone. Good morning, Dr. Verlo.
Morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's it's not my favorite weather when it starts getting cool like this. Honestly, what it makes me want to do is crawl onto a comfy Verlo mattress and take a nap.
Well, we can help you do that this month. For the month of October, we've got a lot of things going on. We're playing with the Halloween theme. We've got a lot of treats, but no tricks. I promise you.
Very good.
Some promotions we have. You can get 12 months 0% financing, or a free box spring with your mattress set purchase on the V5 line or above, or you could get 5% off your entire purchase. So whichever one of those three coupons would benefit you the most, we have those available for you. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You don't like the cooler weather, but this is kind of good sleeping weather.
It is.
And it's good for breathability and everything, but we've come across people lately who are looking for sound machines when they sleep at night.
Huh.
Do you know anybody? I mean, sometimes they need just little background noise like ocean or wind or elements, in a low key, just kind of to relax the atmosphere. We are going to be bringing something like that in, making that available. It's a little sound machine. It's also an infuser that you can put some essential oils like your
nice.
Lavender, your chamomile, and those type things, and just to kind of help the sleep environment, because when it gets colder outside, the furnace is running more. When the furnace is running more, the air gets drier, and this is something that you can put right in the room too that puts moisture in the air as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to set my wife up with a nice sound machine, but she said my snoring doesn't count. So, but no, and the diffuser piece of that is really, really nice, because I know this is the time of year we just broke ours out around the house this week, because you're exactly right. That air starts to get dry, and the illnesses are going around. Getting some of those essential oils out there in around the house is nice. So that's really exciting news.
When you get off of work today, you come down to the Beaver Dam store, and I'll have Larry or Brittany show you the adjustable base. Will help your wife out with reducing some of that nighttime noise for her.
We actually have one, and it does help. So the CPAP does too. Yeah, the CPAP helps too. So, well, that's great, and that's exciting that you've got that coming to Verlo. And so, what you're saying on the Halloween theme is, if you stop at Verlo, sleep can be a little less scary.
Yeah, and actually, we try to make sleep less scary year round. That's because our whole process, we really want to be a problem solver. We want to find out what the problem is, why you're in our store looking for a new mattress, and then help you choose the right one. We're not going to, hurry up and just make a basic recommendation. We're going to find out what your sleep habits are. Do you sleep on your side? Do you sleep on your back? You really want to feel like you're being held. And to make it even less scary, we give you a year where if you need us to, we can make the mattress harder than it is or softer than it is. One time, what you tell us, there's no charge in that first adjustment. We can make that adjustment right in the home.
And I've always said that is maybe, there's so many great things that obviously Verlo offers. It is nice that there's so many options and knowledgeable staff, but that is such a nice peace of mind to know that that adjustment is available, because nothing's worse than thinking you've got that, you've got that perfect mattress, and you get it home and you're on it for maybe a few weeks or a month. You realize, oh man, I probably should have gone a little softer. Maybe I knew, and it's so nice to have that peace of mind that that's okay, because with Verlo, you've got that adjustment that they can come in and make for you.
And on top of that, a lot can happen over the years. I've been with Verlo over 20 years. Recently, I found a picture of me when I had first started, And I don't know if the film has just deteriorated, but I look a lot different than I did 20 years ago. Over time, our bodies change, and 7, 8 years into the mattress, if it's properly been protected, that it's clean and everything, we can still do a comfort adjustment at that time, and then we would only charge for materials. We were not the same people we were 10 years ago. We're not going to be the same people in 10 years. So life happens, health happens. Even then, we can still change the comfort of your mattress. You're looking at a couple $100 instead of a whole new mattress.
Sure. Well, Dr. Verlo, let the folks know where they can find you and learn more about all the options you guys have.
Sure. 1613 North Spring Street up in Beaver Dam, 201 North Main down here in Fort Atkinson, Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, Saturday, 9 to 5, Sundays, 11 to 5.
All right. Dr. Verlo, always a pleasure.
Thanks. You guys have a great day.
All right. That is Dr. Verlo from Verlo Mattress Factory Store. And we'll revisit with the folks from the Aging and Disability Resource Center here in just a few minutes on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floors, and so much more. Also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Just look for the big red awning, and of course, they've got great picture framing over at McKinstry's. If you've got things that need to be framed, maybe you're moving into a new house and you want to get some new things framed up, or you've had this beautiful artwork and you're not sure what to do with it, that's a great opportunity. I mentioned yesterday we just got the kiddo school pictures in this week. That's another great, if you really want to do those justice. instead of just getting any plain old frame, go visit the folks at McKinstry's Home Furnishings. They're super knowledgeable, super helpful, and they've got great low everyday prices on the picture framing, and it just really makes a nice special touch to it. So go visit with the folks at McKinstry's Home Furnishings, downtown Beaver Dam. You can also visit them online at mckinstrysHomeFurnishings.com. We are here with Amanda and Jenny from the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County, and time is just flying by today. A couple more things we want to talk about today. We talked last half hour about Medicare open enrollment, but there is another open enrollment starting soon.
Yes, so the Marketplace open enrollment will be starting soon. So the Marketplace open enrollment is for folks who are on the Marketplace. So if you don't have employment insurance and you're not on Medicare insurance or Medicaid insurance, you probably are on the Marketplace. So that open enrollment is starting November 1st. So that's the time you want to be looking at your plans for the next year. Again, there can be changes in the Marketplace. If you enroll by December 15th, your plan will begin January 1st, but you do have until December 31st to sign up. The difference is, though, if you don't sign up by December 15th, if you wait until the end of December, then your plan won't begin until February 1st. We don't do much counseling with Marketplace. That's not our niche to be able to help with that, but there is another group that does get free and unbiased help. That's called Covering Wisconsin. So if you just Google them, Covering Wisconsin, they're based out of Milwaukee and Madison, but they help all over the place. They can help over the phone. Just give them a call, and then they can give free and unbiased help. They do the exact same thing we do, only they're working with the Marketplace.
Always nice to have multiple resources.
It is. If you have trouble getting a hold of that number, you can call us at the ADRC 920-386-3580, and we can get that number to you as well.
All right, very good. Just a few minutes left in the program here, but a couple other things we want to make sure that folks are aware of if they're not familiar with them. We mentioned it was starting to get chilly out. The weather has turned. It's winter's going to be here before we know it. And there is, for those, we all know how expensive it can get heating a home, but there's some assistance out there for folks that need it.
Yeah, so we talked about it when we were on the show last month, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate it again. So there's eligibility that for all of these programs, you have to live in Wisconsin, you have to have a social security number, be responsible for paying those energy costs, and then income below a certain threshold. And when we were talking about these last month, we just kind of generally talked about what the programs are, but the heating assistant limit also changed October 1st.
Okay.
So I have numbers to give to people at least. Most of the households that Jenny and I work with are usually 1 to 2 people households, but depending on what your household is, there's a different income limit. So for a household of 1, the gross income is below $3,061. And a household of 2, gross income below $4,002.
Okay.
So I would say it's a higher income limit than a lot of the other incomes that we talked about. So I think, even if you weren't eligible for heating assistance, you might be eligible now, or maybe if you were a little apprehensive to check it out. They have a couple different types of programs depending on what your need is. The more common one that Jenny and I give out information on is the Home Energy Assistance Program. So this is a one-time payment that is paid directly to the energy provider, and it's applied to either 1 month of your electricity payment, or you should be able to call the provider, your energy provider, and see if they can divide that benefit up amongst a couple months so you have a little discount and not just that 1 month of assistance. It's never been intended to cover the entire cost of energy. It's really just trying to kind of buffer that a little bit, and the amount that people are eligible for really depends on household size and the income and energy cost consumed.
Okay.
So that's one program. The other one is a crisis assistance program. So this is people who do not have heat or received a discount notice or are unable to purchase more fuel.
Okay.
So more crisis situation. There is a 24-hour crisis phone line to help with after hour emergencies. But I thought this was also kind of nice that they have a non-emergency assistance number for just general counseling on reduction of energy cost, budget and money management. I know a lot of energy providers, they have a budget program, so they kind of take the average of what your costs are. So instead of the bills going up and down, it's kind of more steady, which really helps people on those fixed incomes. So check that out. The other one is called HE Program Services. So this is assistance to renters and homeowners who their boiler or furnace stops working. And I actually had a guy use this a long time ago. So this is really, really can be impactful, especially in like the dead of winter when we have like below weathers and then all of a sudden you don't have anything. So this program can either pay for repairs and in some cases a total replacement of that unit. And then last but not least, there is a weatherization program that just generally for renters and homeowners reduces that energy cost while increasing comfort. The installation is done by local professionals, and they can do a variety of things. Check your insulation levels in your walls, seal up air leaks, update heating systems, and they can also provide some energy saving products like the faucet aerators or the LED light bulbs. I know you used this a couple years ago for light bulbs, I thought.
Yes, and that's not even income eligible. So there's a number you can call and they just send you free stuff.
We actually used, I'm not sure if it was this one or a similar program years ago to upgrade our thermostat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff out there. Energy Services is Dodge County's local agency. Their local phone number is 920-887-7990, and their 800 number, because I know their office here in Beaver Dam is real tiny, their 800 number is 800-506-5596. And the last thing, just to be mindful of just the heating assistance, per Wisconsin law, it prohibits providers from disconnecting residents during the heating season. So November 1st through May 15th is that heating assistance where you can't be turned off even if you have a delinquent bill. But if you do have the delinquent bill, maybe use some of these resources to try to get caught up.
Which is a good reminder to look out for scammers who are calling you saying, you got to pay, we're going to turn off your heat.
Right.
They are not allowed to, by law, turn off your heat. So good to know.
Yes.
Before we get out of here and run out of time, do want to quickly mention, it seems like a couple times a year we get a call here at the radio station. Hey, have you guys heard about the next prescription drug take-back days? And there is one coming up.
Yes, October 26th, so just a couple weeks away. We talked about this last month too. However, I have now seen that Juneau Police Station and Dodge County Sheriff are holding hours from 10 to 2.
Okay.
Which that wasn't before. So any unused medication solutions, aerosol sprays, stuff like that can be turned in. There's some things that can't be turned in, like sharps, needles, biohazard materials. But this is just a way to declutter that cupboard. I know I have a couple that should probably go, but just wanting to bring that to the community's attention. And then there's also free COVID test kits again that's available through the federal government. It's just covidtest.gov. And Jenny and I are getting our flu shot after this, so make sure to get your flu shot.
A week ago. I got mine a week ago.
Good.
So.
It's 100% covered by Medicare, so make sure that you're utilizing those preventative services.
All right, very good. Amanda Higgins, Elder Benefits Specialist, and Jenny Farmer, Disability and Elder Benefits Specialist from the Aging and Disability Resource Center in Dodge County. Always a pleasure. The time always flies by.
Always.
Good to see you, and looking forward to our next visit.
Yes,
Thanks
absolutely.
for having us.
Coming up next hour, we'll visit with Kathy Barnett from the historical tours that are going to be coming up this Saturday. Going to be really neat, so stick around for that. Here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, presented by Professional Floor Covering.
Hey, this is Randy from Professional Floor Covering, welcoming you back to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Getting to know your friends and neighbors, this is Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Kale Zimmerman, the Daily Dodge TV studio. Charlie Dern up in the Slumberland studios, pushing all the buttons, making me sound good. Ninja behind the camera today. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor and so much more. They are located at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. You can also visit them online, proflr.com. And, of course, stop in or visit the website during the Gold Tag sale. Some great sales going on all across the store, of course. Any in-stock carpet gets free carpet cushion. You've got the wool carpet. You've got that Stanton carpet, Abbey carpets. I've got a great selection of LVP over at Professional Floor Covering. Such a big trendy thing right now, and it's such a great product, too, and an option if you're changing up your floors. Definitely take a look and consider the LVP. They've also got that real hardwood flooring if you're going with those hardwood floors. They've also got countertops. They've got options for quartz, granite, laminate, cultured marble. And, of course, you got free measurements, free quotes, free in-store consultations. All that Professional Floor Covering, 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. Did want to make a note. We mentioned earlier in the show about one of our upcoming guests on Community Comment this afternoon. Did get word a little bit ago. Oh, losing my voice. There we go. That's better. Did get word just a little bit ago. Our guest scheduled for the 12:30 segment, Maureen McCarville, the candidate for Wisconsin Assembly District 42, not able to make this afternoon, so they are working on rescheduling her appearance, but did want to make sure to pass that along. Didn't want anybody tuned in and wondering where on earth Maureen was. So they're working on getting that rescheduled. We'll let you know as soon as we've got a date rescheduled for that. Excited for my next guest here on Hometown Today. If you have not been to this event or ever heard of it, it is so much fun, and it is coming up this Saturday, October 19th, and it's the Haunted History 2024, and I'm joined now by Kathy Barnett from the Dodge County Historical Society, coordinator for the event. Hello, Kathy.
I am. Charlie, have you been to the Haunted History?
It's a pretty neat event.
Okay,
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I went a few years ago, and it's really fun. So for folks who maybe aren't familiar with this, tell us a little bit about what this all entails.
It is not spooky.
Okay.
You can bring small children.
Okay.
We are not going to send them home crying.
Oh, good.
This is a tricky way of teaching you history.
Okay.
By having fun with it. Every year I dig up 8 folks to talk about, and I find a reenactor.
Figuratively.
I
don't want authorities knocking at our door before the end of the show.
Although there is a sinkhole out there that I have to put caution tape around before Saturday. And they either tell their story or a story. So we have tour guides that go into the cemetery and escort you from grave to grave. They take about a dozen people at a time. We'll have groups going in every 15 minutes or so as soon as there's a gap. And we will keep taking groups through until 8 o'clock. If there are people there, you get to go through. So you can come anytime between 6 and 8, $5 each, kids 6 and under free. You can't feed them at McDonald's for that anymore.
That's pretty fair. Yeah, that's a fair statement. If folks aren't familiar with where this is, can you kind of explain where that's happening?
The old city cemetery is on the corner of Burnett and North University.
Okay.
It is the oldest cemetery in Dodge County.
Okay.
The first burial in there was in 1842.
Oh, very interesting. What else? What else do you know about the history of that cemetery?
Well, the first burial was John Getch's 2-year-old son.
Okay.
And that would have been Thomas Mackey's grandson.
Oh.
Thomas Mackey was the first settler, and his son-in-law. So that's the first burial. How sad is that?
Was so what do you know the story behind what's with the location and why that was that part of the
Well,
land of the family?
They needed to bury this little boy, and a neighbor donated the land for a cemetery.
Okay.
So it is now owned by the city, and there's at least 1,500 souls buried there.
Okay.
You may notice there are not 1,500.
I was gonna say, you look at it,
there.
you don't, that certainly doesn't look like 1,500 stones, and hard to imagine enough area there for 1,500.
Some of the stones have simply disintegrated away.
Sure.
Some have fallen over and sunken into the ground. Some people just never had the money to put a stone on the grave.
Sure.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of babies in that cemetery.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I suppose back in those days that was a little more common.
It was very common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have children and babies that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty unfortunate. What else do we know about the history of that cemetery? There's quite a few names.
Well, all
buried
of
there.
our first settlers are there.
Sure.
The Mackeys, the Getchiuses. Abraham Ackerman is buried there. I fell in love with his stone when I was in high school. I had to walk through that cemetery every morning on my way to high school. And I thought, who is this guy? I now live on his land.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so I know who he is now, but all the earliest settlers, all of the Civil War fatalities
Oh, sure.
are in that cemetery
Yeah, I
too.
suppose the time frame makes sense. Yeah.
Because the next cemetery that was founded was Oakwood in 1868, which
Okay.
is past the point.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Huh. Very
So,
interesting.
a lot of Civil War dead.
Yeah, I remember the other thing that always catches my eye. I think it was pointed out during one of your appearances here on WBEV several years ago that there is there's a stone there with the last name Underwood on it, and it sits under a tree. And ever since that was pointed out, anytime I go past there, I can't help but think of that and notice
You're
that.
looking for Underwood?
Yeah, I'm always looking for Underwood.
There's a stone there that has been eaten by a tree, and it's a woman by the name of Mary, and there's a poem on it, and luckily somebody recorded it before the tree ate the stone.
Oh, wow.
As you go by, remember, as you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you shall be. Prepare for death and follow me.
Ooh, that is, yeah. Gives me a little shivers up and down my spine. Wow. You talk about, obviously, and if you go past, you see that, some stones aren't there anymore. Some stones are, not in the best of shape. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, you've spent a little time trying to somewhat clean up some of the stones out there, haven't you?
Well, I was hoping when I started this that somebody would take it upon themselves
Sure.
to do some stone repair, because that is not my forte.
Okay.
I'll plant the flowers, but I'm not going to
Okay.
fix the stone. And I actually had one young man who was going to take it upon himself and go in and begin repairing the stones. And then he had to move out of town for his job.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
But as long as people come and they feel an attachment and an ownership of this place, I figure it will be protected.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
I mean, it's one of those things that's, in today's life, it's so easy to just kind of drive right past and not think much of it and not really think about the history that little parcel of land in our growing city really holds. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of history there.
Did you know there's a mass grave there?
So I was going to ask you about that because I thought I've heard rumors that
There is a mass grave there. This came from Art Gribno,
Okay.
and he was the house that I was heading to when I was cutting through the cemetery to go to high school. And at one time, Charlton, which is on the south side of the cemetery,
Yeah.
stopped at the east end of the cemetery, and there was
Okay.
no road there.
So
and
is that why it's got that weird curvature?
That's why it's
now?
got that bend. And in that area was the paupers' graves. And the powers that be at City Hall decided they had to extend that road. So they dug up everybody they could find. Now talk about not being marked.
Yeah.
The pauper's grave. So there's a large maple tree in the southwest corner of the cemetery where all the bits and pieces that couldn't be identified
Okay.
as a single person ended up. There were a couple intact graves that were moved
Okay.
along the back fence, but yeah, Beaver Dam has a mass grave. How about
Interesting.
that?
You said which corner is where that went
the,
to?
the southwest corner,
Southwest corner. Okay, gotcha.
in Charlton,
Yeah, southwest corner. Oh, I did.
right at the bend.
I'm in that general neighborhood, so I'll have to remember that next time I go by, because I had heard rumors about that, but I wasn't sure how much of that was true and what the story was there. So that's very interesting. Do we know how many souls got moved?
I really don't
Probably hard to
know.
say, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
If you were in a pauper's grave, you possibly did not even have a coffin.
Sure.
So you didn't have a stone. You maybe didn't have a coffin. They're just digging willy-nilly.
Yeah.
There may be somebody that got missed that we're driving over.
That's entirely possible. Times were a little different back then, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're just like this great encyclopedia of knowledge about that cemetery. What other interesting facts little tidbits do you know about that? Or we kind of touched on all the little fun facts that you know about that.
Well, I was surprised at the variety of people that are buried in that cemetery. We have a guy who made a living making brooms out of his basement. And then one row over, we have 3 doctors.
Huh.
So they weren't really that segregated that you will find them segregated in Oakwood, where you have these
Oh, sure.
20-foot stones with
Yeah.
angels on top of them.
That is really
And
interesting.
Oakwood also has its own brewer's row.
Okay.
All the Beaver Dam brewers are all in a row.
Interesting.
And the very last one is Gogerly,
Okay.
and his angel has a wreath of hops blossoms and a sheaf of wheat.
That's pretty clever. That's
Yeah.
pretty clever. Do you have you've spent quite a bit of time out there over the years with this event and obviously, looking at the stones. Is there a stone out there that just really sticks out to you that's kind of maybe a favorite?
I still like Abraham Ackerman's.
Okay.
It's just it's an Egyptian obelisk.
Oh, okay.
And that was very popular right after the Civil War. They were going to build a Washington's monument in Washington, D.C., and they had to put it on hold because of the Civil War. And they had one that was all planned out just like everything else, with the Egyptian, with the Greek pillars and the white marble and everything. And that was right after Napoleon decided he had to take this Egyptian obelisk home from Egypt, and it became all the rage. So if you go around and look in the cemeteries and you see these little Egyptian things, these are all post-Civil War as a fad following the building of Washington's
The
monument.
Washington Monument. Huh. I can picture some of those. I remember seeing some of those and thinking, wow, that's a really neat stone. That's pretty cool. Again, the Haunted History 2024 taking place this Saturday, October 19th from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. You can arrive anytime of those. Probably if you're getting there at 7:59, a little too late. Should you arrive a little before
people
that?
are getting kind of tired and cold
Yeah,
by then.
probably
But
maybe.
if 2 people show up, we'll do it. I
Okay.
mean,
Very
one
good.
shows up, they're out of luck.
Yeah, exactly. From 6 to 8, you can come on out to the Old City Cemetery that's at the corner of North University and East Burnett in Beaver Dam. $5 per person, ages 6 and under. are free, and it's a really great way to learn a little history of about some of our fellow Beaver Damians from many, many, many years ago, and just get to maybe understand and appreciate the history of our city a little better than you may now. We're going to talk a little bit coming up about some of the characters we're going to be meeting at this year's Haunted History. That'll be coming up next. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
It's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, making sure you don't miss what's happening in your hometown. It's Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. It's presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor and so much more at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam or online at proflr.com. Make sure to check in the store and check out all the great stuff that they've got in there. They've got the top brands for every look, every need throughout your home, whether it's that carpet, the flooring, the countertops, the cabinets, all that good stuff. They have got you covered there, and they've got a really nice selection of flooring there too. They've got that luxury vinyl plank, the hardwood floors, the porcelain tile, the carpet, the area rugs. Really nice selection of area rugs there. Also a great selection of countertops. You've got the quartz, the granite, the laminate, the solid surface. You've got the kitchen cabinets. If you're renovating your bathroom, your kitchen, that is the place to go. And you can also get free in-home measurements and quotes and a free in-store consultation. And like I say, if you're thinking about maybe taking on a project, just stop into the store if you're not really sure what you want to do, because there's a pretty good chance you'll get inspired by looking around at all their options. Again, professional floor covering, 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam, online at proflr.com. We're back with Kathy Barnett from the Dodge County Historical Society as we get ready for the Haunted History 2024 coming up this Saturday, October 19th from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. at Old City Cemetery over there on North University and East Burnett in Beaver Dam. It is just $5 each for the tour, and ages 6 and under are free. And yes, you can bring ages 6 and under, because as Kathy mentions, and I think it's such a great reminder that it's not scary. It really is a fun way to learn some history. We talked a little bit about the event, but every year you dig up a handful of these characters. Well, I shouldn't say characters, because they're actually people who are there, but you dig up these folks, and we get to learn a little bit about their story. So let's run through and learn a little bit about the folks that we're going to hear from this year.
Well, our first performance is Tim Welch portraying Alfred Loomis. Alfred Loomis was a mill builder in Beaver Dam, and he talks about horseless carriages and how he doesn't like them.
Oh.
Tim Welch is of Litke Motors.
This is a very clever pairing. I'm starting to see the connection
and
here.
He has said he's going to have to add on. So we may hear about all the horseless carriages except for the Lincolns. Not. But his son had an accident with a horse-drawn buggy when he was out on a date with his girlfriend.
Oh.
So he talks about how, maybe they aren't that much worse than what we had.
Sure. And I'm trying to remember, I think is this Tim's first go around with the Haunted History?
No,
I don't
he's
think it is
been with us before.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought he's been a part of a number of them already.
Yeah,
so.
I used to not be able to cast this. People said, "You want me to do what?" Now they're calling. You haven't called me yet. Don't you have a role for me this year?
Who can I play this year?
Which happened this year.
Okay.
So I was a little heavy on female roles, and one of my male actors called me and said, "What about me?"
Sure.
So I told him next year.
Okay.
For sure.
So you've got a waiting list at this point.
Yes.
Technically. All right.
And then we have Thomas Young. This is another good pairing. It's being portrayed by Glenn Link.
And Glenn Link is definitely, I know, a veteran of this event.
Yes. Well, he's a board member, and he said, everybody has said, I am a character. I might as well be a character. So
I could agree with that statement.
The Historical Society board is a working board.
Sure.
So a lot of board members are characters. A lot of board members are tour guides. And we even bring the spouses in. So this is a family affair. Glenn Link is portraying Thomas Young, who made ale. He was the first brewer in Beaver Dam. He made good, dark English ale, which is Glenn's drink of choice.
I'm starting to think that there's too many folks buried there that I wish were still around today.
He had ale caves that he built just east of town, out Prospect, past the beach.
Really?
And one of them is still there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Glenn's going to tell you all about that.
I want to learn about the ale caves. That's right up my alley.
Mary Rose is the wife of Judge Rose. They had a house up on the top of Front Street overlooking downtown Beaver Dam.
Okay.
And she tells about losing two of their nephews exactly 1 year apart
Really?
and of the same disease
No kidding.
in their house. They came to their house for the good air and died anyways. So, yeah. And one of the nephews is buried with them out there.
Okay.
So,
And who's portraying Mary Rose?
Mary Beth Jacobson, another board member,
Mary
a past
playing Mary.
curator. She is the only woman tiny enough to go into the costumes at the museum for what she wears. The
Okay.
rest of us have to bust into the community theater to get our costumes,
Ah.
but she's tiny enough to get the good stuff.
Okay. See that there's so many of these little thoughts that have to go into this. It's just so interesting. You wouldn't think about that. Who else are we going to be visiting with this year?
Anne Hathaway is being portrayed by Mary Kaler.
Not the actress from the Princess Diaries. Different
No,
Anne
a
Hathaway.
different Anne
She is still very
Hathaway.
alive, very much alive and well.
She lost her husband and 4 of her young adult children in the span of 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a sad story.
it is.
It's very sad.
Well, it's a cemetery.
It is. Yeah, it's kind of full of sad stories, isn't it?
Yeah, my daughter said, "Why are you giving me all the sad stories?" I said, "I'm giving you the sad stories because you are good enough to make them cry." And she is. My daughter Stephanie Wiedenheft is
Okay.
portraying Elizabeth Thompson. Now, some of these people, Alfred Loomis, Elizabeth Thompson, I have featured before, but I have found new stories on them. So this is the first time that Stephanie has portrayed Esther Douglas. Esther Douglas's husband, John, was the very first man to enlist for the Civil War.
Oh, okay.
And then his 15-year-old son also enlisted.
Huh.
Esther was not pleased.
Not super thrilled about that decision.
And
Okay.
they were both killed in action within a month of each other.
Oh, wow.
And there is a poem that was written by the younger. Where is it? I'll find it. Here we go. Excuse me while I page.
So many notes. This is how thorough this haunted history is, though. You're going to get all the important details because Kathy Barnett here with the Dodge County Historical Society has put a lot of research, and the Historical Society in general has put a lot of research in. There's a lot of things you're going to learn.
That's the fun part. Remember,
Kale,
I
we
was
do
going to the
have
library
Randy on the
and
line.
I told my grandson Aiden, I am going to go do some research. And he goes, "Oh, Grandma, you do research?" He was a lot younger then. He was so cute.
All right.
Okay, here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, and then we're going to
Okay.
visit with Randy from Pro Floors.
All right. The poem is to Henry A., son of John Douglas, who's died in service of his country, age 16. The patriot boy from his soldier grave speaks proud great thoughts of the true and brave, and waves a light from the spirit shore of glad pure joy forevermore.
Wow. Some great writing back then.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. We're with Kathy Barnett from the Dodge County Historical Society talking about the haunted history coming up this Saturday from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. at Old City Cemetery, the corner of North University and East Burnett. We'll visit more with her in just a bit. Right now, we've got to talk to our pal Randy from Professional Floor Covering in Beaver Dam. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fantastic, and how are things at the store today?
Good, real good.
Good.
So, on a little lighter note, we're going to make you really, really comfortable while you're here.
I like that. I know I was just there a few weeks ago, and it's always fun to kind of walk around. I don't even have any remodeling projects in mind, and I was walking around and going, oh, and it kind of had me thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what you should do is always be thinking about improving your home, making it nice, making it cozy. Big winter is coming up. So, you got to, you're going to spend more time indoors. You definitely need to make it nice in there.
That is, it is inevitable. It's getting colder out, and going to be spending more time in the house. So yeah, you're right. Having it comfy and warm and cozy is important. And you got a lot of selections and things.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the stuff you got going on over there right now.
Well, the carpet is definitely going to make it warmer. I'm on the forklift. Can you hear it?
I was going to say, what are you delivering? What are you doing? Are we being safe?
I'm moving. Yeah, I'm moving some carpet. But yeah, carpet's going to make it definitely warmer and cozier in there. So we've got a free cushion with any in-stock carpet. So it's a nice 6-pound cushion. It'll definitely last a long time. It's not some real flimsy, cheap apartment carpet or cushion. So any carpet you buy, you get a free cushion. We've got the gold tag sale going on, which means any carpet you order is also on sale.
Okay, and you've got a really nice selection of carpet over there too.
I bet we got 75 rolls.
Wow. And some really good, nice quality stuff too.
Oh yeah, a lot of it is like living room quality, 60 ounce or heavier. Which not to say we don't have. We also carry some real inexpensive, like apartment carpet.
Sure.
But we do have a lot of really nice living room quality. So if you're looking to get your living room done and you can find one of these colors that you like, you could save a lot of money by buying stuff that's in stock versus something cut order off of a sample.
Sure. Yep. It's the gold tag sale going on now at Professional Floor Covering, and of course that affects more than carpet. You guys have a great selection of LVP over there, which is really popular too.
Yeah, we've got tons of LVP. We've got a big chunk of our store dedicated to LVP. So any color under the rainbow, we've got it. Any brand under the rainbow, we've got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've got all those really great brands over there too.
Yeah, we got Cortec, we got Karen Dean, we got all of them.
All right, very good.
And
Anything else?
And if we don't have it, I guarantee we can get it.
Randy and the team will work hard, and that's the other thing too. We should mention is you and your staff over there. Very knowledgeable and happy to work with folks if they've got questions or maybe need some inspiration for picking out some flooring.
Yeah.
Anything else we should?
40 years I've been at this, so
you might know a thing or two by now.
We might be able to figure it out for you. Yes.
All right, Randy, remind folks where they can find you.
713 Park Avenue. It's across from the Piggly Wiggly, right next to the Chill Zone Liquor Store. PROFLR.com.
All right. Well, Randy, always great to talk with you, and we'll see you soon.
Nice talking to you, too.
All right, Randy, with Professional Floor Covering, of course, our presenting sponsor for Hometown Today. We'll be back with more Hometown Today in just a few moments here on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Hey neighbor, this is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, welcoming you back to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings underneath the big red awning in downtown Beaver Dam. They've got a great selection of home furnishings there for you. Of course, you can always check out that phenomenal selection of rocker recliners. They've got the great Lazy Boy chairs. Always looking at some of the a nice variety of things, whatever kind of feel you're going for in your home, they've got you covered, and they've got a great staff there, fantastic staff that is super, super knowledgeable, knows their stuff, has a really good eye for home furnishings, so you can talk with them. And, of course, like we talk about, their picture framing department. They've got some great options there. If you got needlework that needs framing, that is a great option. Wedding picture is always really nice to get framed. Paintings, oil paintings, or other artwork, whether it's your kids' artwork. Maybe you have some artistic talent and you want to display that in your home. Awards, always a good thing, too, if you want to frame those up and show something you're really proud of while making sure it fits the decor of your home. They've got you covered over there at McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. We're back here with Kathy Barnett with the Dodge County Historical Society as they are gearing up for the 14th annual Haunted History Tours at Old City Cemetery over on the corners of North University and East Burnett Street in Beaver Dam. That's going to be taking place this Saturday night, October 19th, from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. You can come out anytime in between there and get parked and come on up, and they'll have guides that'll take you on a tour, and you'll get to learn some really, really interesting stories from Beaver Dam's past. So we're talking about a couple of the folks that we're going to meet on this year's Haunted History Tour. Let's talk about a few of the other folks that we're going to get to meet.
I have one, Elizabeth Thompson, that I did not find the story for. A woman came to Haunted History last year and left her name and phone number with my daughter and said, I have a story. So I contacted her, and so this is her story of her ancestor.
Really? This is her ancestor?
Yes, and it's being portrayed by Ginny Hankes.
Okay.
She's the wife of one of our board members, and
okay.
This is a first time for her, but she did our Ghost Story Fest.
Oh, okay.
And absolutely blew me away. So I said, Ginny, you got acting chops. You can do this. So this will be her introduction. Elizabeth Thompson arrived with her husband and her daughter in 1844. So the last leg of their journey, of course, was by oxen-drawn wagon.
Okay.
Now, there's no springs on those puppies.
You don't say.
You're sitting on a wood board. The oxen cannot barely walk as fast as you can. There are no roads. You are following an Indian trail. There are no bridges. So this is a long, hard trudge.
Yeah.
And she had her 60th birthday on the trail and got her good china out of the wagon and had tea on her birthday. And to this day, her ancestors call that the oxenware.
Oh.
Is that cool or what?
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That is pretty neat.
But I did learn that this family should keep their men folks off of rivers, okay?
They don't fare so well, I take it?
No. Her daughter's husband was walking up in Marquette County on a river. Now, again, no roads, no plows. If you wanted to get from point A to point B in the wintertime, your best route was a frozen river.
Oh,
Problem
sure.
is he didn't make it.
Oh.
And then there was a granddaughter who married and moved out west, and her husband drowned in a river. You got to keep your men folks off the rivers, okay? Yeah.
That's good to know.
Kurt Sampson, our curator, is a perennial favorite. He
Yes.
always brings something special to the people that he portrays, and this year he's portraying the Reverend Alva Burgess, he started the, excuse me while I page here.
It's okay.
Yeah,
there's so much
he's-
information.
He founded the Sons of Temperance here in town, so he was very much anti-alcohol.
Okay.
Although back then, if you drank the water, it would kill you.
So probably pretty thrilled with how many brewers are buried there.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Miriam.
But he has some cautionary tales.
Oh, I feel like a number of these folks do.
Yeah. And I'm sure he will give his own special spin to this.
What else do we know about the Reverend?
Well, his son is buried right by him, another Alva Burgess,
Okay.
who is a Civil War fatality. He was a Baptist minister for a couple of years. He came in from New York by way of Illinois, so they all move on to greener pastures.
Okay.
Most, excuse me, most of Beaver Dam's early settlers came from New York State. They were actually advertising how good the land in Wisconsin was in papers out east. And the big crop back then was wheat.
Oh.
And wheat is notorious for draining all the nutrients out of the soil. So you grow wheat until it won't grow there anymore, and
Sure,
then you
and then
move on.
that land is done.
So they were moving on.
Okay.
So that's why they were coming out to Wisconsin.
Okay. For the good land. Very good to know.
Yeah.
And anybody else we're meeting going to be meeting on Saturday night?
We are meeting Reuben Dexter.
Okay.
He's being portrayed by our board president, Patrick Lutz. Patrick has an affinity for the state of Arizona
Oh.
to the point that they actually up and moved there.
Okay.
He didn't like the winters.
Okay.
They didn't like the summers. And now he's back in town, but he has a fondness for Tucson, Arizona, and we have the mayor of Tucson buried in Oakwood. And Pat is portraying Reuben Dexter, which would be his father-in-law.
Okay.
So he gives this little story on the mayor of Tucson and how he ended up in Beaver Dam.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it sounds like a very interesting cast of characters, a cast of folks that we're going to get to meet from Beaver Dam's history. And, of course, we're just getting really a little preview snippet of these folks' story. There's a lot more to tell, and I think it's always good to hear it from the actors who are portraying them as well, because it does give it that little extra oomph and can maybe make a better connection with that person that you never actually got to meet.
Exactly.
When you get ready to do this, I'm curious. I mean, where do you start each year with the planning and kind of deciding whose stories we're going to learn? Is it kind of based a little bit on whose stories you have available? Do you go out there in the summer and take a walk around and remind yourself who's out there and whose story you want to dig into? Where does that process start?
I just start digging.
You just start digging.
Just start digging.
Okay. Again,
I start with
metaphorically.
research,
Yeah.
And sometimes I find the story and have to find somebody in that cemetery that can tell it,
Okay.
because it's not necessarily their story, but it was within their time, so they would know
Okay.
about it.
Sure.
Some stories are just, you gotta tell it. I mean, the guy got run over by a circus train. Come on.
Well, and
The line was, what? You didn't hear it? You didn't smell it? You didn't see it? Yeah.
And this you might have just answered this question, but is there a story or two and a person or two from your years doing this that really, I mean, obviously that one, any other ones that really kind of stick out to you?
We have a Civil War nurse who is considered a veteran who is buried in that cemetery.
Okay.
So that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Is
Yeah.
that what's interesting to you? That's kind of a big deal for that time, time period,
yeah.
that you wouldn't see that very often.
You didn't even have female nurses before the Civil War.
I suppose, yeah.
And it was a lot to do with the Wisconsin governor's wife, that we ended up with veterans hospitals during the war. Until then, during the Battle of Vicksburg, they were on hospital ships down on the Mississippi River. And she kept going out to pester Abe and say, listen, our northern boys will do better if you send them home to a northern climate to eat northern food and be nursed by northern women. And he finally gave in.
Okay.
So that was the start of hospitals during the Civil War, and that was also the start of allowing women to be nurses, because before then, nurses were men.
Yeah, okay. That's, I mean, it's neat to have, that kind of history tied to Beaver Dam, because you maybe don't think that things like that are tied to here. So we have Kathy Barnett with the Dodge County Historical Society talking about the 14th Annual Haunted History 2024 coming up this Saturday from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. at Old City Cemetery here in Beaver Dam on North University and East Burnett. You can come out and take a tour. It's just $5 each, and the $5, I imagine, benefits the Historical Society.
Exactly.
Yep, and 6 years or old, 6 years and under are no cost, and absolutely bring out all ages. No scares, no frights for those. So come on out and enjoy. It really is a neat deal. Kathy, thanks so much for being with us today.
One more thing.
Yes.
If you absolutely cannot walk that cemetery, you can see it online.
Yes.
My grandson, Aiden,
Yep, one
an
of our teammates
employee
here.
of this wonderful establishment, videotapes it for us every year. So you
Great.
can go to the Dodge County Historical Society website, and there will be a link to YouTube so you can watch it at home in the comfort of your
And
couch.
we'll try to get a link up on dailydodge.com as well for that. Well, Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to hear some of the stories you have to bring us. Again, that is coming
From
up this
Marquezine
Saturday,
to
6 to
Marshall,
8. That's going to do it for Hometown Today.
Watertown to Waupun, and